She slammed the door and said, "Figure it out yourself." I did, just not the way she expected. The silence from next door said more than words ever could. I'm 36, been living in the same apartment building for 4 years. I've got a decent one-bedroom on the 3rd floor, nothing fancy, but it's mine. The building's older, the kind where you can hear your neighbors if they're being loud, but mostly everyone keeps to themselves. That changed about 18 months ago when she moved in next door. She was 33, recently divorced, worked some corporate job that had her traveling a lot. We became friends pretty quickly. Started with the usual neighborly stuff, borrowing sugar, helping with groceries, that kind of thing. Then it became coffee on weekends, dinners sometimes, watching shows together when she was home. It felt easy, natural. I thought maybe it was heading somewhere. She'd drop hints sometimes, laugh at my jokes a little too long, touch my arm when we talked. But she never made a move, and neither did I. I didn't want to mess up what we had. Then about 6 months ago, things shifted. She started seeing someone. Some guy from her office. She'd mention him casually at first, then more often. He started staying over. I'd hear them through the walls. Not anything explicit, just voices, laughter, the sounds of someone else being in her space. It bothered me more than I wanted to admit. But I stayed friendly, supportive, because that's what friends do, right? The guy was around more and more. Then one day, about 3 months ago, he basically moved in. I know because I heard them arguing about it through the wall. She was hesitant, said it was too fast. He pushed. She gave in. That's when things got bad. The fight started maybe 2 weeks after he moved in. Loud ones. Not violent, but intense. He had a temper. She'd try to de-escalate. He'd get louder. I'd hear doors slamming, him storming out, her crying after. I wanted to say something, but what was I supposed to say? We weren't that close anymore. She'd pulled back once he came into the picture. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was working from home, had a meeting in an hour. I heard them start up again next door. His voice was raised, hers was defensive. The usual pattern. Then I heard something different. A crash. Something breaking. Her yelling for him to stop. I was at her door in seconds, knocking hard. Everything okay in there? Silence. Then footsteps. The door opened. He stood there, looking annoyed. Can I help you? I heard something break. Just wanted to make sure everything's all right. We're fine. Mind your own business. I looked past him. She was standing in the living room, arms crossed, looking at the floor. There was a broken vase near the wall. You okay? I asked her directly. She looked up. I'm fine. Thanks. He stepped forward, blocking my view. She said she's fine. We're having a private conversation. Didn't sound like a conversation. What are you, the building monitor? Get lost. He shut the door in my face. I stood there for a minute, debating. Then went back to my apartment. Sat through my meeting, barely paying attention. Kept listening for more sounds next door. Around 8 p.m., there was a knock on my door. It was her. Hey, sorry about earlier. You don't have to apologize. Is everything okay? Yeah, we just had a fight. He's gone for the night. Went to a friend's place to cool off. What happened? She sighed. Stupid stuff. He didn't like that I went to lunch with a male coworker. Thought I was hiding something. We argued. He threw the vase. It's fine. He just gets jealous sometimes. That's not fine. I can handle it. Can you? She looked annoyed. I didn't come here for a lecture. I just wanted to say sorry for the noise. I'm not lecturing. I'm concerned. Well, don't be. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. She turned to leave. If you need anything. I won't. But thanks. She went back to her apartment. I heard the door lock. Update 1. The fights continued. Maybe twice a week. Always the same pattern. He'd accuse her of something. She'd defend herself. He'd escalate. Something would break or he'd storm out. I stopped knocking. She'd made it clear she didn't want my interference. But I started paying more attention. I'd hear him come home late. Hear them argue about where he'd been. I'd hear her ask if he was seeing someone else. He'd turn it around. Accuse her of being paranoid, of smothering him. Classic manipulation. I'd seen it before with friends in bad relationships. The gaslighting, the projection, the control. One night, about a month after the vase incident, I came home from the gym around 10 p.m. Saw him in the hallway with another woman. They were close, too close. She was laughing, touching his chest. He saw me, and his expression went cold. Evening, I said, walking past. He didn't respond. Just watched me unlock my door. The next day, I ran into her in the lobby. She looked exhausted. Hey, you okay? Just tired. Work's been crazy. Anything else going on? Like what? I hesitated. I saw your boyfriend last night. In the hallway. With someone. Her face went still. What do you mean? Another woman. They were close. Who was she? I don't know. I'd never seen her before. She looked away. Probably just a friend. Didn't look like just a friend. You don't know what you saw. I know what I saw. She turned on me. Why do you care so much? Why are you always watching? Always listening? It's creepy. That stung. I'm not trying to be creepy. I'm trying to be a friend. We're not friends. We're neighbors. There's a difference. We used to be friends. Yeah, well, things change. She walked away. Update 2. I backed off after that. Stopped trying to check in. Stopped paying attention to the sounds next door. If she wanted to stay in a toxic relationship, that was her choice. 2 weeks passed. I barely saw her. Then one Saturday morning, there was a knock on my door. Aggressive, repeated. I opened it. He was standing there. We need to talk. About what? About you harassing my girlfriend. I haven't been harassing anyone. She told me you've been spying on us. Listening through the walls. Making up stories to try to break us up. That's not true. You told her you saw me with another woman. That's a lie. It's not a lie. I saw what I saw. You're trying to get between us because you're jealous. She told me about how you used to hang around, how you were always trying to get with her. That's not what happened. Stay away from her. Stop knocking on the door. Stop talking to her. Stop watching us. If I find out you've contacted her again, we're going to have a problem. Is that a threat? It's a promise. He walked away. I stood there stunned. She'd told him I was harassing her? That I was jealous? I felt anger rise up, then pushed it down. She was clearly in deep with this guy. He'd twisted the narrative, made me the villain, and she'd gone along with it. Fine. I was done. I went inside, closed the door, and decided to cut all ties. No more being the concerned neighbor. No more trying to help someone who didn't want help. But then the noise got worse. Update 3. The fights escalated. They were almost daily now. Louder, longer, more intense. I'd hear things breaking, doors slamming, her crying. And now I'd hear him berating her, calling her names, tearing her down. Part of me wanted to call the police. But what would I say? I hear yelling? That's not illegal. And she'd already painted me as the problem. Then one night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to screaming. Real screaming. Her voice, terrified. I was up and at the door in seconds. Pounded on it. Open the door. I'm calling the police. The noise stopped. Silence. Then the door opened. He stood there, calm as anything. Can I help you? I heard screaming. No, you didn't. I absolutely did. Where is she? She's sleeping. You're hearing things. Let me see her. Get lost before I make you. I pulled out my phone. I'm calling the police. He lunged forward, grabbed my phone, threw it down the hallway. It shattered against the wall. You just assaulted me and destroyed my property. Prove it. We stood there, staring at each other. Then a door opened down the hall. Another neighbor, older guy, stepped out. Everything okay out here? Her boyfriend smiled. Yeah, sorry. Just a misunderstanding. We're good. He went back inside her apartment. Locked the door. The neighbor looked at me. You all right? Yeah. Thanks. You should call the police. I saw what he did. You'd testify to that? Absolutely. That guy's been nothing but trouble since he moved in. I borrowed his phone, called the police. They arrived 20 minutes later. Took statements. Knocked on her door. She answered. Told them everything was fine. That I was a neighbor who'd been harassing them. That her boyfriend never touched my phone. The witness neighbor backed me up, but it was his word against theirs. The cops couldn't do much. They left. I got the message loud and clear. She'd chosen him. Over truth, over safety, over everything. Update 4. I replaced my phone the next day. Installed a security camera in my hallway, pointed at my door. Legal and common areas. If he tried anything again, I'd have proof. I also started documenting everything. Times of fights, what I heard, how long they lasted. I didn't know what I'd do with it, but I wanted a record. 2 weeks later, I came home from work to find an eviction notice on my door. Not eviction, a lease violation notice. Claiming I'd been harassing other tenants, creating disturbances, causing problems. 3 violations, and the landlord could terminate my lease. This was violation 1. I went straight to the landlord's office. Demanded to know what this was about. We received complaints. Multiple complaints. From your neighbor and her boyfriend. They say you've been stalking them, threatening them, making their lives difficult. That's complete fiction. I have witnesses that her boyfriend assaulted me and destroyed my property 2 weeks ago. They filed a police report about you. Said you've been banging on their door at all hours. I banged on their door once because I heard screaming. Do you have proof of that? I have a witness. And now I have a camera. A camera pointed at their door? At my door. In a common area. Which is legal. The landlord's side. Look, I don't want drama. Keep to yourself, leave them alone, and there won't be any more violations. They're lying about me. Maybe, but I can't prove that. What I can prove is that there have been multiple police calls to this building in the past few months, and they all involve you too. So keep your distance. I left fuming. They were playing me, setting me up, and it was working. Update 5. For the next month, I kept my head down. Didn't acknowledge them if I saw them in the hallway. Didn't react to the fights I heard. Just documented everything and stayed in my lane. Then one morning, I woke up to silence. Complete silence. No sounds from next door. No movement. Nothing. At first, I thought they'd finally left. But her car was still in the parking lot. I went about my day. The silence continued. That evening, there was a knock on my door. I checked the camera. It was her. Alone. I opened the door. She looked awful. Bruise on her cheek, split lip, eyes swollen from crying. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She sat on my couch, staring at nothing. What happened? He hit me. Last night. We were arguing, and he hit me. Did you call the police? No. Why not? Because I'm afraid. He said if I told anyone, he'd make sure I lost everything. My job, my apartment, my reputation. He has connections. I believe him. So what are you doing here? I don't know. I didn't know where else to go. You need to report this. I can't. Yes, you can. And you need to get him out of your apartment. It's his apartment too now. He's on the lease. Since when? Last month. He convinced me to add him. Said it would make things easier. I sat down across from her. You need to leave. Pack a bag, go somewhere safe, and figure this out. I can't just leave. He'll find me. Then you need to get a restraining order. Document the abuse. Get him removed from the apartment. You don't understand. He'll twist it. He'll make it sound like I'm crazy. Like I'm lying. Just like he did with you. So you admit you lied about me. She looked down. I'm sorry. He made me. He said you were trying to break us up, that you were jealous, that you couldn't be trusted. I believed him. And now I see what he is. But it's too late. It's not too late. But you have to want to change it. She stood up. I should go? He'll be back soon. Don't go back there. I have to. No, you don't. She looked at me, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I do. Because if I don't, he'll make my life hell. And I can't fight him. I'm too tired. She walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. Thank you. For trying. I'm sorry I didn't listen. Then she left. I sat there, feeling helpless. Angry. Frustrated. I wanted to do something. But what? She wouldn't press charges. Wouldn't leave. Wouldn't fight back. So I did the only thing I could do. I kept documenting. And I waited. Update 6. 3 days later, the silence broke. Another fight. The worst one yet. It went on for over an hour. Screaming, crashing, her begging him to stop. I called the police. Anonymous tip. Domestic disturbance. They showed up. Knocked on the door. She answered, said everything was fine. They left. The next morning, I found a note slipped under my door. Stop calling the police. This is your final warning. His handwriting. I took a photo of it. Added it to my documentation. That afternoon, I got my second lease violation notice. This time for repeated false reports to police creating a hostile environment. I went back to the landlord. This is retaliation. He's abusing her, and I'm trying to help. Do you have proof of abuse? She has bruises. She told me he hit her. Will she testify to that? Probably not. Then I can't do anything. My hands are tied. So I'm just supposed to let him hurt her? I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to stay out of it. One more violation, and I have grounds to terminate your lease. I left. Went home. Stared at the wall. She told me to figure it out myself. So I would. Just not the way anyone expected. Final update. I spent the next 2 weeks putting together a comprehensive file. Every fight, documented with times and dates. Photos of my destroyed phone. The note he'd slipped under my door. The witness statement from the neighbor who saw him assault me. The security camera footage showing him threatening me in the hallway. I also reached out to her workplace. Anonymously. Sent them copies of everything. Suggested they might want to check in on her welfare. Then I contacted a lawyer. Showed them everything. asked about my options. They filed a restraining order on my behalf against him for harassment, threats, and destruction of property. It was granted. The police served it at her apartment. He was forced to leave the building immediately. She came to my door that night. Furious. You got him kicked out? Are you insane? I got a restraining order because he threatened me and destroyed my property. What he does with his living situation is his problem. He's going to kill me for this. Then report him. Get your own restraining order. I can't. Yes, you can. And I've already started the process for you. What? I sent everything to your HR department. They're required to take action if there's evidence of domestic abuse affecting an employee. They'll be contacting you. And I've provided them with resources for you to get help. She stared at me. You had no right. You told me to figure it out myself. I did. By ruining my life. By trying to save it. She slammed my door. Went back to her apartment. The silence from next door over the following days was deafening. No fights. No noise. Nothing. A week later, I saw a moving truck outside. She was leaving. Didn't say goodbye. I heard later through the building gossip that her company had intervened, offered her a transfer to another city, helped her relocate. She took it. He violated the restraining order twice. Got arrested the second time. Last I heard, he was facing charges and had moved away. I stayed in my apartment. Got the lease violations removed from my record after presenting my evidence to the landlord. The apartment next door stayed empty for 2 months. Then a quiet retired couple moved in. I never heard from her again. Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing. If I overstepped. If I made things worse. But then I remember the bruises. The fear in her eyes. The sound of her crying through the wall. And I know I did what I had to do. She told me to figure it out myself. So I did.